Hello?
Monica Susana.
Hello?
TIK Radio. Definitely, many times our defense mechanisms prevent us from seeing beyond our immediate perception, and our ego tends to control our narrative. That's why it is essential to appreciate time and each moment that presents itself to us, and utilizing the past as destiny, although it may seem very complicated, is perfectly understandable. Simplicity helps us understand the paradox and free us from the burden of guilt and shame. And sometimes when we look to the future, we see it as a new opportunity to reconsider and redefine that role that we're playing in our current circumstances. Observing and embracing this new opportunity with the same simplicity that we use to accept our present, we free ourselves from the change of the past, and that allow us to move forward with a greater clarity and purpose. Now, seeing the past as destiny, it will help us understand that everything that happened was perfect and could not have been any other way. Sometimes it's difficult to understand this, but each experience and every challenge, every joy, every connection, every sorrow, even every pain, have brought us exactly where we need to be at this moment. And by accepting this with simplicity, we find liberation from guilt and shame. Yes, allowing us to embrace the present with a greater inner peace and gratitude. And the ego, that internal voice that often dictates our actions, and it's very important to understand that has 4 weapons to hide the supraconsciousness. And the first is ignorance. The second is the attachment to materialistic things, as people tend to seek material achievements such as cars, houses, watches. And fear is the third weapon that is conditioned by ego and rooted in the fear of death. Since the ego arises and forms in the material realm, it knows that the body it's mortal. Eventually it will disappear. Therefore, any fearful situation makes that ego tremble, and of course it's a threat, to its existing. So it's important to recognize that that's a weapon too. And the fourth weapon is egomania. The ego is selfish and manifests itself by speaking ill of others. And that's very difficult, because the hardest things is to know ourselves, while the easiest is to point out the faults of others. That's more easy. So it is important to recognize that we need the ego to live the material life, but we also need to understand that we have to control that ego and preventing dominating us. And the supraconsciousness will be the one controlling that. We cannot allow the ego to control or dominate us. And that takes time, because also it is important to cultivate a mindset aligned with consciousness and self-awareness, allow us to fully embrace our potential and live with authenticity and fulfillment. And I think enjoying a simpler and more meaningful life, I think that's the key. And today we have the power to decide how we want to define, or how we want to define that, or even define ourselves and the role that we have in this place where we at right now, where we find ourselves, in using our free will to shape our future. Welcome to TIK Radio. Hey TIK Radio community, today's episode is proudly sponsored by BetterHelp. Because taking care of your mental health is just important as hitting the gym. Starting therapy can be challenging, and that's why BetterHelp is here to make it easier for you. Whether you prefer phone calls, video chats, or messaging, BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist tailored to your comfort. With over 30,000 therapists in their network, you'll have access to a diverse range of expertise right at your fingertips. Just fill out a quick questionnaire, and in most cases, you'll be matched with your therapist within 48 hours. And what's great? Well, you can schedule sessions at your convenience. And if your first match doesn't feel quite right, no worries. Switch to a new therapist and no additional cost. Join the 4 million people who've taken a step towards a healthier, happier life with BetterHelp. Visit www.betterhelp.com/TIK Radio. And as a special offer for our TIK Radio listeners, you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy. Remember, your mental well-being matters. Thanks to BetterHelp for supporting TIK Radio and Mental Matter on TIK Radio. Bye-bye. And until the next live, TIK Radio.